I have 2 copies of Zombicide Black Plague. And I don't say that from the perspective of the elite status. I say that from the perspective of I love the game on so many levels. And I've pushed up some Tactica ideas. I've pushed up the narrative. I've pushed up the review to the channel here. It's under the board gaming playlist. I painted my first set. Didn't quite know what I was getting into. Even being a miniature wargamer and having painted many armies and many things over the years. Once you stare down all those zombies, you're very enthusiastic. As soon as you prime them and you know there's no turning back, now all of a sudden you're like, wow, you got to paint the expansions and push those out. Did that on the first set, then said, well, look, I got to do it on the second set. First set was some of the best models that I painted. That's the game that sits in the Fritz cave and we utilize. Second set was tabletop quality. 3 colors, some basing, some highlights, a wash. Good enough, but certainly given the parameters, I could have done much, much better. And maybe I'll go and hit that back. I say that because this second set is my travel set, although it's a lot of stuff. This is the set that I regularly bring and play at the club. And I frame that to ask the question, what do you do if you ruin a game? If you accidentally, because it's never on purpose, if you damage or ruin your friend's game, and there are some people out there that when they shuffle cards, they mash them and they just crush it. There are some people that are a little bit heavy-handed, or just accidentally, you spill some drink, you have some snacks, you're like, Fritz, right away, number 1, no snacks at the table, none. You go in the other room, you have your snacks, you have your drink, you come back. And I respect those rules. You know, whatever the house rules are, you're inviting me in to play. I'm going to be a team player. But the reason why I say a second copy of Zombicide Black Plague is in playing this game and in loving this game, it has literally been shredded in a good way. Everything's sleeved. The miniatures were sealed, but cards fall. Miniature gets dropped on the floor. Someone steps on it. We had a dog almost swallow one, and it's kind of messed up. I mean, just everything on there. I accepted the fact that if I bring this game to regularly play, which I do, and I regularly invite all sorts of people to sit down and play, because rule number 1 of the table is if you want to play and sit, you're in. Even if it's only for 6 players, grab a character, grab a tray, and get in there. We'll just change the rules. Everyone plays. So I think from the perspective, we have to look at ruining games. If you bring a game to play, I'm going to be careful. If I'm bringing it to play, I'm going to be careful, but I am putting myself out there a little bit. You know, my copy of Magic Realm, that's kind of an elite invite with that. We got to kind of see. Is it public? Is it with friends? Is it something I can control? Or is it the store? Is it a free-for-all? So I think you need to be a little bit conservative of people damaging your games and spilling your games and ruining them, not on purpose, but by mistake. Now, on the opposite end, if I damaged a game, if I spilled something on it, I would do my best to offer some sort of replacement. If it was really, really insane, really, really bad, then I would look to say, hey, do you want me to give you some money towards it? Do you want me to replace the game for you if I can replace some components? But even if it was relatively minor, nothing's minor, depends on perspective. If the game was still playable, but some cards got mashed or something got a little bit messed up, I would, just for myself, I would want to offer that owner something, because they're extending that. They're letting me to enjoy the game. Accidents happen. It was an accident, but if I can kick you a little something, a couple of bucks, or maybe a game that I enjoy that you want to borrow for a while, or kind of trade or do something like that, just to represent the fact that I am very sorry. And I understand, being a board gamer, we want to take care of our stuff. I understand that it's a very fine line between, I've got these games, especially if they're a little bit pricey, especially if they're out of print, especially if they're like in your top 10 slots, the duality of you want to play them, you want to share them, you want to bring them out, but you want to have them for a long time. You want to have them forever. So I try to be mindful of that. I try to be respectful of that, and I try to own up to that on both sides. So your thoughts from that perspective, if you've had the situation where a game has been ruined that you brought, how did that resolve? And if you've ruined or damaged a game in accident, how have you resolved that?